listening to A Band of Gamers, podcasting since 2012. Three older best mates share a few laughs and keep you current with discussions about the latest news, consoles, and games. Join the conversation and the community. abandofgamers.com. Hey, welcome back. Hello, you're listening to ABOG, A Band of Gamers
podcast.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah.
Got a really good episode. It's our annual Favorites of the Year episode.
The favies.
The footies, as Shane calls them.
Got up this morning, I was, fired up. I'm like, yeah, man, we're recording a new epi today. It's going to be great, man. I'm like, yeah, man, it's the favies.
The favies?
But I forgot it's the footies, but hey.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah.
We also got we've got a game that we need to talk about because everybody's talking about it. And you want to get our opinion, right? I mean, you want to hear what ABOG has to say about Cyberpunk 2077. So if you have been living under a rock, or if you just are too busy with the holiday shopping, wrapping presents, drinking eggnog, what have you, and you're not up to speed on what's going on with that game, Karl will frame it in a few minutes, summarize kind of what's been going on, and then he'll share his impressions. After that, we've got what we're drinking. We got some stouts we all agreed upon last time, right? Everyone got a stout?
We got something, man. I'm trying something new.
Okay. All right. Intrigued.
I've got a stout for sure.
And they're all heavy duty on the boxing scale. They're Hulk Hogan. They're heavy duty.
Right? You guys got some heavyweights, man.
And then we've got our favorite albums of the year after that. I think.
Lots of tunes this year.
Actually, no.
Lots of
it's what we're drinking, then it's the games. Then it's the wait a second. What's going on here? Where am I?
Yeah, is this a podcast?
Oh my God.
Have we started on the beers too soon?
I think so.
Oh.
All right. It'll flow. We've got a flow. It's already. Don't forward. Just listen to the whole thing. You'll be good. I'm Joel, your MC, one of your three co-hosts, recording in Brookfield, Wisconsin, USA. Joining me on this podcast journey, first of all, from Birmingham, England, as the Ben Cyberpunked ? It's Karl. What's going on, Karl?
It's going good. It's going good. Have I been cyberpunked? Have we all been cyberpunked? We'll have to find out in just a minute.
I haven't. I'm not playing it. Shane, you playing it?
I ain't playing it. I cybered this morning, but I'm not playing the game, no.
Yeah, hard to get punked when you're not playing it. From Vancouver, Canada, that's Shane. You just heard him. The governor of Givener. What's going on, Shane?
Oh, man. Yeah, things going. I got to take a sip of this, man. I got to try this out, man. I saw this on a social media platform, and I wanted to try it, so I saved it for today. I'm going to try it right now. I'm going to have a nice big sip.
And then we wait for his impression.
Yeah, that's a big gulp. I'll narrate it for you. He's taking a second gulp.
Wow. That is ace. That is fantastic. But you're going to have to stay tuned to find out what it is.
That's right.
Oh, man. I tell you, I can't believe the hype. Speaking of not believing hype, Cyberpunk 2077. So, if you know a game called The Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red dropped it on PS4 not long after launch, and they announced, actually before these consoles came out, before The Witcher 3 had actually dropped, that they were developing a game based on Cyberpunk and the IP of Cyberpunk, basically. I think it's a tabletop game. And it's been 8 years in the making. And it's been delayed once, twice, 3 times maybe. It's been a rocky road, some might say. You might even say that one of our podcast hosts called it that this might be a tricky launch.
Maybe.
This game... yeah. Maybe. So release date rolls around, they drop some little gameplay videos and trailers and things, and the internet has been going mad for this game to get released. Everyone's been jumping up and down, release it, why are you delaying it, get it out, and they released the code for reviewers. It was all PC. So there's your first alarm bell going, it's only PC code. They tell reviewers you can only show footage of this pre-agreed footage from the game. Second alarm bell goes. Now, I've pre-ordered this on the PS5 because I managed to get one of those next shiny new generation consoles. And originally, obviously, I pre-ordered it for the PS4, the base console. There were no console copies given out for review until like 24 hours before this game came out. So, long and the short of it is this game does not run well at all on the base consoles, the original, the OG PS4 and the Xbox One. If you've got a high-end PC, you're fine, pretty much. It's still got bugs. This is not a finished game, first and foremost. If you've got a current-gen console, this is going to be running okay for you. You know, I'll get into that in a little minute. But what's happened here is CD Projekt Red have sold 8 million pre-orders for a game predominantly on systems which are not capable of running it. And it was borderline. Well, it wasn't borderline. They lied pretty much out the gate. They stopped footage getting out on the old consoles, so people couldn't see for themselves. People couldn't go off the back of reviews, and it's just left him in one really horrible mess. Really horrible mess. And it's just a PR nightmare to the point where this has now been removed from the PlayStation Store because Sony don't want to get involved in refunds. You know, they are honouring them, and I think you can get your refunds as well on the Xbox Store if you've ordered it there. I think Steam as well. You know, if you're not happy with the game, you're going to get the opportunity to return it. So, you know, what kind of issues are we looking at?
Well, hold on a second. They also, part of why I think people are so angry is that they said that the primary console for these games would be the base models, right?
Yeah.
They've been talking how more than likely, though, the base model for this game would have been the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So that step up from the base model. Everybody assumed that was the target. And I think that's what they've been saying. They said that's the target.
Sure.
We're not shooting for next gen. It's not coming out on next gen until later, which I think is summer of 2021. The PS5 and Xbox Series X version will come out if they can get their shit together. On the other version, maybe that one will get delayed now too. Who knows? So you're running on the PS5, you're running a backwards compatible version of the game that your console may or may not, you'll get into it, pull it up a little bit.
Yeah, totally. And you're spot on. Like this game was developed and announced before the PS4 came out. So the PS4 is the console it's been developed for, essentially, or should have been developed for, primarily. This all leans towards this has been developed for PC primarily, which I think is what's happened. And they've been trying to make it work and trying to get it across to the original consoles, but they've been just totally shady about how that's going to work. And we're not talking. You know, we see buggy games a lot. You know, we do see games that need fixing. We see graphical issues. We see, you know, crashes and things, but not to this level, really. I mean, even Bethesda with Fallout and, you know, Skyrim and some of these games, they're never great at launch. They're never perfect at launch, but they are at least playable. And, you know, for people with original consoles, this game just isn't playable, really. People have persevered. People have played through it. I know people have played through it multiple times and just lived with it, just lived with the issues. So they, and to, you know, to their credit, they have been releasing patch after patch after patch and release. But I still don't hold out much hope for this running well at all on the base consoles. I really don't think it'll get there.
And how hard is it to, sorry to interrupt, but how hard is it to develop on 6 consoles and a PC? I mean, that's what they're doing here. And I'm not forgiving them. I'm not saying only giving out PC code to reviewers and sort of hiding the fact that it's running like crap on the lower level consoles, the base models. That's not forgivable. They've apologized. They themselves said, we'll give you refunds, but then they had to work with Sony and Xbox to pull that off. But I think they were there first saying, we'll give you your money. They feel, I'm sure the developers, the PR team feels horrible. Somebody in that company, though, made a decision to release this game as is when they could have spent some more time on it just to get all that pre-order money in. Maybe before the holidays, maybe in 2020. Not quite sure there, but there's a lot of developers who've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this who are probably embarrassed and ashamed right now. And I just want to acknowledge that and defend those people and say, this is new territory here. Putting out a game this ambitious across 6 consoles and a PC is one hell of a challenge. And is this the first of many, potentially, in this new world we're living in where backwards compatibility is such a thing? And it's on both now, Sony and Xbox, PlayStation and Xbox. these companies are going to have to make these games like scalable. And that's kind of what you're seeing, at least on the videos I've watched. And Karl, you can get into it, but you watch it on the PS4 or the Xbox One, and everything's loading in real slow, and it's pixelated and blocky. But then if you see it running on a high-end PC, it loads in quick, and it's almost like it's scaling on the fly. Quite a challenge for a developer to have to accommodate all of that. However, they said they were making it for PS4 and Xbox One. So,
yeah, spot on. And I think they probably bit off too much, that they could chew. I mean, they originally announced the first delay. I think it was due in April this year, wasn't it? And they announced the delay before the new consoles had actually been unveiled. So at that point, they were doing it for previous gen, albeit they had the Pro and the Xbox One X, Series S to contend with as well. But they weren't really aware. So obviously, then the new consoles get announced. They've also got those thrown in the mix. So you're right. There is an element of that, and I like this studio. I love The Witcher 3. The Witcher games are great. And when The Witcher 3 was released, it was an awful mess. Not unlike this, to be fair. So a part of me thinks, they will fix the game. I'm pretty sure that they will do whatever they can. They're not going to walk away and ride off into the sunset and leave this hanging. They obviously are hell bent on getting it working, and a lot of this stuff takes away from what the game actually is. It's kind of just pushed all that under the carpet with just all the publicity. And I guess if you're a developer and you've got deadlines and all the rest of it, people are jumping up and down, we want the game, we want the game, we want the game. The internet is just not a patient place, and they shouldn't have caved to that, and they should have been transparent. But it immediately gives you a sour taste.
Did you watch the Game Awards? Did you see that? You see that No Man's Sky won an award for like most supported or continue supported, or however they frame that game. And that's another example of a game that just got lambasted, wasn't meeting expectations, was almost hyped as much. It was very hyped, came out flat, got just torn apart. The whole development team felt awful. And here we are, what is it, 4 years later, and they're winning an award for an amazing game. And it seems like it's all forgiven, right? I don't think those people who... Do you think anybody still holds ill will to Sean Murray and the studio there behind No Man's Sky? Hello Games? Are they forgiven? It seems like they are, right? I don't see anybody out there like, forget it, I'm still mad from 4 years ago. No, if it's a good game, they're gonna play it. They're gonna play it.
I think you're right, and what they've done to that game is night and day now. Like it's a brilliant game. It's free on Game Plus as well if you haven't played it, and the stuff that they've done and added to it is massive. But I think when that launched, he was basically saying, yeah, it's got multiplayer, yeah, it's got this, and he was just like straight up not being honest about what was contained in the game. And
that's the thing, right? He was just bullshitting through his teeth in every interview leading up to it. And as soon as it came out, everybody knew it was all bullshit. And he got called out for it. Good. Okay, so they kept working on it. Of course they are. They have to. They can't just turn away and then, okay, now we're going to do another game. They had to keep doing it. But whatever. People love the game. That's fantastic.
They totally could have turned away, dude. I mean, they didn't have to keep working on it. Maybe to save their reputation as a studio, maybe they need to keep working on it, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. They had to, otherwise nobody would ever buy any of their games after that. You couldn't. You had to keep working on it and get it to that point to redeem themselves. But
yeah,
I just think you won't see me watching too many Sean Murray interviews.
It kind of makes you wonder how much they've lost making that game, in terms of the ongoing support and not releasing games. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the reaction across, because this game was so hyped, and the reaction across the world has been humongous. It's even got like the BBC News over here. People that I know that don't play games. They're like, oh man, what's going on with that Cyberpunk thing I seen on the news? And it's just got mental. So in terms of the levels of bugs and glitches and all the rest of it, this is it's the frame rate and resolution that makes it unplayable on the last generation consoles. The frame rate drops to almost 15 frames per second in some parts, and it's just awful. And like Joel said, stuff loading in and all the rest of it, it's not great. On the PS5, you are playing a backwards compatible version. It's same on the Xbox. The Series X performs slightly better than the PS5 version, I think, from just watching a few Digital Foundry bits and bobs. I certainly didn't notice any issues with the frame rate. It's buttery smooth, 60 frames per second. That's the only thing that's basically unlocked. The performance of everything else is last gen, really. Textures and resolutions are bad. They are just really bland, and they, you first load into the game, and I played as a nomad in my playthrough, and you kind of in the garage, and your car's in the garage, and it's a very small area, but you just walk towards a wall, and you slowly see like a spanner or a wrench pop in, and then the shading will pop in around it, and a couple of minutes later a hammer will pop in next to it, and you're like, this is not good. So there's a lot of graphical issues. Pop in is the biggest offender. They use some interesting default graphical settings as well. So they try and hide some of this stuff with the settings that they put in it and make everything fuzzy and blending, so you don't notice the hard edges and you don't notice the poor textures. So if you go in and switch off the film, like the cinematography mode and the grain effects and things like that, you get a better feel of the graphics and what it will be, I think, when you get that next gen patch. I've had a couple of major glitches in it. The worst being with the weapons in the game. So you kind of cycle through your weapons like you would in any FPS game. This is a first person game, not like The Witcher 3, and I completely lost all my weapons. So I did a mission, come out of the mission, and the AI was like the UI was like it was split in half. So it was half in the cutscene mode and half in the game mode. So I could wander around Night City and I could interact with everybody. I could do quests. I could progress things. I could get in a car. I could do everything. But the minute someone attacked me, I couldn't draw a weapon. The button didn't work. The weapons were in my inventory, but nothing was there.
Nice.
Yeah. Couldn't even melee attack or nothing. So you come out of that, quit to the dashboard, close the game down, load it back up, issue's still there. You can uninstall the game and reinstall the game and the issue's still there. And the only thing that fixes it is by triggering another cutscene to make the game think, oh, I've got to go back into the full, there's a chance it will do it if you trigger another cutscene. Bizarre glitch. The AI is awful. So, it's like you're playing GTA and there's cars on the road and they'll have some kind of AI to move around you, or if they get stuck in traffic, they might reverse out and go around a corner and things like that. If a car stops in the middle of the road in Cyberpunk, it'll just stay there, and traffic will build up, and you walk up the road, and then when you turn back around to look at it, the cars are gone. Just thin air vanished. Same with pedestrians. There's no density to it. There's people kind of just disappearing, and floating off down the road. Legs not moving. There's a lot for them to fix, and it's a shame. It's a real shame because the game is actually pretty good. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I played through it and finished it. It took me about 25 hours, 26 hours.
Whoa.
Nowhere near as long as The Witcher 3. Nowhere near as intimidating. The way that they've built this, and it's a very clever idea for a video game in that you've got this large hustling bustling brilliant city. Just at the moment there's not much to do in it, but at certain times with the lighting it looks really nice, and because it's built up it gives you that scale of just vastness sometimes, but it does need more to it. It does need more. There's plenty of side missions, but some of them are just intrusive. You keep getting calls on your phone, hey man, I've got a car for you to come and buy, or they've got a fight for you to do, and that kind of comes in and ruins it a little bit sometimes. But the actual story missions and the character interactions, the time and effort they've put into the character development is exactly what I was looking for from playing The Witcher. So, you're intrigued in seeing what those characters have got to offer. Like, I want to do that side mission. Like, and I want to get into that. And I found the story is just great. Like, I wanted to pick it up. I wanted to play through it. And even regardless of the kind of the bugs and the graphical issues, really.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, I think so. So it took about 25 hours to get through to roll the credits. I hadn't done all the side missions, but I'd done all the main characters' side missions. But with this game, you can pick three kind of classes at the beginning of the game, but they're not really classes. They're more backgrounds to your character. So you can have the nomad who's kind of outside of Night City, comes in and tries to make a name for himself and all the rest of it. And then there's like a corporate stooge who's in Night City already, and there's kind of like someone who's already a bit of a thug, I suppose, or a bit of a street boy in there as well. So each one offers a different kind of starting chain of quests and stuff, and a different way to play through the game. There's alternate decisions, and lots of different pathways, so you can get loads of different endings and things like that. And I think what they have nailed is the length of the game and making you want to replay again. So I kind of finished that playthrough and I was like, I want to replay this now as the corporate dude, and I want to take the different route to one of the alternative endings and do that. But I'll wait to do that until this is patched for PS5 properly. The game crashed 6 times during the 25 hours. So we're talking crashing to the dashboard, basically. So it didn't hard freeze, just brick the PS5. It just, the usual screen that you get, Joel, Shane, where you get the little bar that loads up and it says, we've encountered an error, please submit.
Yep.
So got like 6 of those. But other than that, it was just the odd graphical itch. There was no major issues. I didn't have any issues with quest chains or anything being unplayable. It went fine for me. I did play through before it was patched at all, and then with a couple of other patches, and you do notice small little things getting a little bit better. So, but it's going to be a long road for them, I think, to be fair. So in terms of that, I was like, I come away from it and I was like, right, okay, so I've played that for 25 hours and it's crashed on me 6 times, which is not great by any shape or form, because every time it does that, you think, oh God, it's going to rebuild my hard drive and all sorts, and it's never a good thing. And then I thought back to playing Red Dead Redemption 2, when that crashed my Xbox One X 3 times and bricked it once, and I lost my whole save. And I was thinking, okay, well, comparing 30 hours on Red Dead to 25 hours on Cyberpunk, and that was a much more polished game. So I think you can forgive the odd crash. I don't think you can forgive 6 in 25 hours. But it didn't make me think, I'm not going to play this anymore until they fix this. I was just like, okay, I want to see what happens in the story. And a lot's been made out of Keanu Reeves' involvement, and I was thinking he was going to be a bit of a, bit of a party trick, really, a bit of a throwaway character kind of thing, but he's a very important part of the story.
Sure.
And it's very believable. And the way that it works, I won't give any spoilers, but he's with you through the whole game. And not just the main missions, it pops up in all sorts of different places and just really adds to it and sells you on that immersion that you are in this kind of digital world and in your own brain and all that. So it's not a gimmick, and I really thought his involvement would be a bit of a gimmick, this Johnny Silvan's character, but you are him, you play as him, it all intertwines in just the most awesome way. So I thoroughly enjoyed playing it, and it's got massive issues, and the developer has really just pulled the wool over everyone's eyes, and I think he's now paying the cost of it, and who could have called that, Shane, right?
What's the cost? They've already recouped their development costs and all their marketing budget. They've already made money. So at what cost? Reputation?
And I think there will be some reputational damage done. But if it hadn't have been as publicised, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Like, it's not really any more broken than The Witcher 3. When I played The Witcher 3 on the first time I played that, I was floating in the air. I was going through the world, and there were all sorts of problems with it. And it still turned out to be a wonderful game, even, it's regarded as one of the best games of the generation. So I can see it, with the support and all the rest of it, I think, if you're on the fence about getting the game, don't get it. Wait till maybe February, March, when they've released the next generation patch, when they've tried to get some stability on the current generation of consoles, and then pick it up. I think it's one of those games that's going to age like a fine wine. I think it's going to recover and be a hell of a game. I'm looking forward to replaying with the next gen graphics and everything.
Yeah, and isn't it a free upgrade if you buy the current gen version? When the PS5 and the Xbox Series X version comes out, you can use that same disc or that same download, get the patch, run the next gen version.
Yeah, totally will be. Yeah, it'll be free.
So.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Freaking better be.
But and this is the thing, I saw so much bashing of it and all about the bugs and all of it warranted. Like, I'm not making an excuse for them, but I was like, right, okay, well, I want to try and see what and you can see the vision that they have for the game. Like, it is at times really impressive with the city and everything else, but at other times it looks like Rage 2, and you're like, well, I enjoyed Rage 2, but it's not not really a AAA wonderful mega game. Like, that was you knew what you were getting. You were getting Rage 2. It was from Bethesda. You knew it'd be buggy. You knew it would look somewhere underneath this, this AAA standard. But I know I messaged Shane when I loaded in, and I was like, oh man, I booted this up and it looks like Rage 2, because you start off in the desert, when you're a nomad. But then as you get through, I think they've tried to do a lot and they've messed it up. They need to repair relations and they need to figure out the best approach, and obviously giving people the opportunity to refund the game is not a bad way of doing it. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a long road for them in 2021, I think.
It takes them 8 years to make a game, so they got plenty of time to fix the goodwill that needs to repair, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking,
it's weird to me how I think a lot of people considered CG Project Red kind of like like an indie darling or something, right? They were a smaller studio out of Poland, made this amazing game that everybody loved, The Witcher 3, and of course The Witcher ones prior to that, 1 and 2. And now the way this went down, it's almost like, feels like a large corporation pulling the wool over people's eyes. It just feels really weird. And didn't they say last delay that something to the extent, and maybe I'm recollecting this wrong, but it was like, we don't want to put it out until we got it ready to go. I could have swore they said that, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and they delayed it. Well, exactly the description you've just used is everything that is not Cyberpunk. Like this huge corporation that's trying to, they sound like one of the bad guys. Sound like Arasaka in Cyberpunk. But there's a lot of repair work to do. The one silver lining that I did think the other day was that The Witcher 4, when it eventually does come out, if they ever release it now after all this, should be great on launch. So, I'd quite happily take that hit now for The Witcher 4 to come out and be good on release on the PlayStation 7 or whatever it comes out.
Just as long as they don't build it for 6 different consoles. Stick to what it's going to run best on. You don't have to build it so it runs on every, stick to what it's going to run best on. That's going to be your best investment.
Yeah, I thought about that. So, they announced it so long ago. And the new consoles weren't even on the horizon at that point. How could they say, like, okay, well, turns out it doesn't run well on PS4, it doesn't run well on Xbox One, so we're just going to shift. That would have pissed people off probably even more than what happened with how they released it, I think. If they just would have, like, stepped on everybody who they said it was coming for and shifted it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that would have been, more palpable.
It would have been the right thing to do. But I think either way, there would have been, like, the internet's going to slam them either way. And, I just...
Once they had... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it, dude. I was just going to say, I just hope that other studios get the same treatment. I harken back to the press conference and they brought Keanu Reeves out. And from that moment, I knew something was not right. I knew that's way too much hype. They went out and put him out there. And, you're awesome or whatever. And people lost their minds to the point where, like, you can do no wrong. It didn't smell good at the time. Something was up. It was really weird. They put all this hype out. Yeah, the internet's part of it. They built a lot of that hype themselves. And in the end, it bit them in the ass. Like,
yeah, but they should build hype. That's what you do. You build hype, right? If I could build hype for ABOG, I'd be out there building the shit out of it, dude.
Yes, but that was back in what, June? E3? That was in June. That wasn't that long ago. So you imagine what this game played like in June?
True, but that doesn't mean they're not going to market it less. Like, it's not playing well, so shh. Let's stop marketing it. They 8 million pre-orders, I think, is the number.
Yeah.
8 million pre-orders. The most pre-ordered game in the history of video games.
Yikes.
So the hype was, whether it's a good game or not, I think that's a whole different conversation from the hype machine, right? That's a PR firm. That's a marketing effort. It's too bad because I think, putting it differently, I think people they were really excited for this game. There's high expectations and lots of anticipation, and the delays just almost sort of built the hype, built the anticipation.
Yeah. And it's like with the year that we've had, and we've seen it with the console launches, people couldn't get hold of them, and it was just like, man, looking forward to that. And I think it's the same with Cyberpunk, that people were like, well, at least I've got Cyberpunk to play on my current generation console, right? At least I've got this to see out the year. And then, you get that. And I mean, people do whatever they do on the internet, don't they? But CD Projekt Red should not get a free pass. They should be brought to task on it. But at the same time, when they have patched it, people should go in and give the game a chance and give them a chance to fix it in the next few months. But by all means, send your copy back now and pick it up again when it's a bit cheaper, if that's what you want to do, and then pick it up and play it when it's a bit more stable. It's worth it.
Interesting perspective, man. During all the internet screaming and everything else going on, people upset. I kind of forgot about there being a story in there. And that's one of their strengths, right? Telling a good story or telling a bunch of stories kind of intertwined into one bigger story.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not as deep as it's not as good as and deep as the characters in The Witcher 3, but it's really good for what it. It's very hard to build those kind of interaction levels and build that the care that you have for a character in 20 hours of gameplay. It can be done, but you've got much more chance to get attached to characters in your story when you play for 50, 60, 70 hours. So I think it's a good game, man. I think Keanu Reeves is great in it too, to be fair. But like I said to Shane, he's not just a gimmick. He actually has a lot to it. So worth checking out.
Yeah, solid argument for websites re-reviewing games like a year after they're out, because some of these reviews now, when a game comes out and there's so much more that needs to happen with these games, it's almost like it's review it again later, like a year or two from now. Yeah, I don't know. I just went off on a complete tangent that makes no sense. So carry on, Shane.
Need to review ABOG podcast at your favorite listening source.
There you go.
That's what you need to be reviewing. Get in there. You listening on Apple. You got one of those fancy iPhones. You got your podcasts on there. Get in there. Leave a review, man. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. So go in, leave us a fantastic review. We appreciate it in advance.
Well said. Let's get into our 12. I'm not doing 12.
Whoa, I'm out.
Top 5. I've already tapped into this 12.5% beer. So that's where the 12 came from, I think. So top 5 favorite games we played in 2020. A little bit of a setup here. We're not just sharing games that came out in 2020. We really hit our backlog pretty hard here this year. And I'm sure we will continue to do that going forward, as I'm sure a lot of you are. It's hard with everything we got going on in life to just buy all the games and play all the games the instant they come out. We played some really good ones. I know I did, from prior years in 2020, and we're going to include them in this list. So favorite 5 games we played in 2020, some of which came out in 2020, right?
Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's get into this.
Number 5, Streets of Rage 4 for me. Proper beat 'em up. Old school proper beat 'em up. Excellent animation. Fun as hell. You can play as all the different characters, and there's different stuff going on for the characters. You unlock additional characters. Very well done. Totally lived up to the hype. Streets of Rage at its finest. Excellent game.
How's the music in that game, bud?
I don't know. I don't listen to music in games a whole lot.
Oh.
I do. It's really good.
It's got good music in it, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the music's decent. It's I think they wrote in the original Gotta Be on the Sound. I can't remember his name off the top of my head now, which I should do. That's a cardinal sin. But you get the choice. I think you got some of the original tunes on the soundtrack as well, so you can alternate. You can play through it with those if you want to from memory. I love this game as well, Joel. I think it was on my honourable mentions list, so I'm glad you got it in there. It's rare that I actually finish a fighting game like this. I get through, actually play a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and actually get through and finish the whole thing, which I did with Streets of Rage more than once, to be fair. So
yeah, it's just a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple of hours of good solid fun. And free on Game Pass as well, right?
That's where I got it.
Yeah.
All right. What's your number 5, Karl?
Good choice. I've gone for a bit of Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I haven't played it for quite a while now. It's been a good 3 or 4 months since I picked it up. But talk about a game landing at the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
You know, lockdown had just been announced. The world was going to, just hell in a handbasket, whatever. And up popped Animal Crossing. It was just like, I could just forget about the outside world and play this game. And it was really, really great. I just thought the changes that they made to it, the little tweaks of the whole island that you can make your own, and it was just a great upgrade to the Switch, and it had hours and hours of entertainment. I think I put like 55 hours into it without really realizing I didn't actually do much in the game, but I enjoyed logging in every day and doing my little daily things, and just building up the island and popping over and spending a bit of time with other people, friends, and that, and playing it on there. And my old dear picked it up; she's addicted to it. And I saw her today. She dropped some presents around and stuff. And I said, "How are you getting on?" She said, "All this Christmas update." She said, "I built 2 snowmen last night."
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just wonderful to especially like she's 70. She's having to isolate and all the rest of it with me old man, and it's brilliant to for escapism and just to just positive thoughts and fun. I really enjoyed that game.
A little bit of a language barrier there between England and U.S. When you said old lady, I thought you meant Faye. I thought, not.
Oh no!
In the U.S., we call our old lady. It's like our wife, right? So I thought, your lady. I thought that Faye was playing. I got all excited, like, oh my God, Shay is totally going to start playing it again. If she hears Faye is playing it, then you talk about your 70-year-old mom. I'm like, okay, no, that's not Faye.
Yeah, no. Faye wouldn't play that. There's no point to it, she would say. So she says the same opinion of my dad. So, old man is my, dad.
My God.
Old lady's your mum. So,
love it.
Yeah, but great little game. It just came right time and place. Nintendo smashed it with that.
Yeah, and Shane's got a very strong top 4. He just dialed it in. Dialed it into 4. So let's start on the 4s. And for me, the 4 is also Animal Crossing New Horizons. Hit at the right time. Great franchise, long-running franchise, and Switch, they really did a nice job with the multiplayer aspect of it. It's always been a game that's been kind of too locked down, like you couldn't visit other islands. And here, you can get together with other people. I got a friend in California who's doing an Animal Crossing yoga studio. He's an actual yoga teacher, and he can't really be out there doing his thing during this pandemic, and he started a yoga studio on Animal Crossing. So some really brilliant stuff going on in there, and
that's awesome.
Such a cheery, happy, mellow, relaxing, easy game when shit hit the fan back in March. It really did come at the right time. And like you, Karl, I haven't played it in a long time, and I don't even know if I hit 55 hours. I think in winter I'll probably go back to it, because winter is a time when I get kicked the feet up more often in the house here. It's too cold out. And my wife's been saying the same thing. She played the hell out of it until summer hit, and it's like, okay, come winter, I'll dial it back in, and I hopefully we do. But very good game, good choice, Shane. Why don't you kick it further for us here? You're number 4.
Yeah, man. My number 4 favorite. These are favorite games I've played this year. And my number 4 is the long-awaited Tony Hawk Pro Skater Remaster.
Yeah,
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that was a bit leery. When this got announced, it's that Pro Skater 5 wasn't very good. We talked about it in my disappointment back on an episode, What Would Tony Do? I think that's what it was called.
Nice.
Your disappointment then, but this came out and it was better than we expected. It's truly a fantastic remaster, remake. They went back in. Everything's the way you remember. It's fantastic. Put a couple new touches in here just to keep it fresh and exciting again. But man, so many good times in this. So many great maps. So many great memories that come back. They got some new skaters in there. The old favorites. Create your own, skater in there as well. And it's just brilliant. They couldn't have done a better job with it. And it's fantastic. Definitely one of my favorites of 2020.
Has that right feel to it. It feels exactly like it should. And that's the prior games really struggled with. It's kind of making it feel like that old Tony Hawk. And I had a bad case of ergonomics. Worked from home for 7 months. and in like a dining room table, not thinking about like a proper setup. My hands are like 12 feet in the air with my mouse and my keyboard. And all of a sudden I got like, had some ergonomic issues. Totally exasperated by that game. I sat down, I started playing Tony Hawk. I'm like stuck on one part of one level and just like clawing the controller and going nuts on the buttons, and stood up from like a 2-hour session like, oh shit, my fingers looked like they were going like, you know, like crinkle fries or like going all over the place. I'm like, oh, fuck. So I haven't been able to play it in a while, but man, I'm anxious to get back to it. I was totally enjoying it. It's a great game.
Good show.
Karl, you're number 4. Holy
Nice.
shit. I didn't even see this on your list here. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. Cyberpunk 2077. And I'm not going to talk any bugs or anything else. I think just taking it as the game that it is, and putting some of those things aside, a great story. And it is one of those games I think that is perfect for somebody who this is a combination of a FPS game with RPG elements in it. If you whack the difficulty down to normal or easy, the combat is awesome because you just feel like a badass, and they've got a really cool little weapon upgrade system, crafting systems. You've got tiers and different trees of skill unlocks and perks, and it goes on. There's a lot of customizability in the game, and I've just really enjoyed my time in Night City, and I want to go back and play through the other character trees and see what their experience is like. Play through some of the set pieces differently, some of the romantic options and things you can do or not do, and it's a game. I always know when I've got a good game because I don't want to put it down, and playing through this and finishing it in 4 days, I think was a lot longer to do. Which is a lot for me. Like I normally have like a couple of hours a day maximum, but I really just wanted to hammer through it and just play through the game. Yes, you are going to have some bugs in it. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend playing it on the base consoles, but if you've got a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, I don't think there's any need to hold off playing it. Yes, it did crash on me a few times, but kept going back to it, and what they've done with it, what they've done with the world. I found it very, very entertaining, very enjoyable, and the FPS stuff, which I was worried about, because obviously I prefer a third-person game. I'm not really an FPS guy. The shooting was satisfying, especially if you can get the right gun. You can just pop headshot after headshot and just clean house. It's very satisfying. And for those people who like me who don't like stealth is optional in this game. Even the missions where it's like, right, you got to get in V, you got to be really quiet and sneak in. You can just totally blow shit up, and they completely adapt to like, oh my god, I said going quiet, right? I've got to change, and the story will change a little bit depending on your approach. So I love that. I found that great because I always worry about these games. There's one little bit which is proper stealth because you've got a stealth build in there in the skill tree and everything, and I was just like, I just want to blow shit up, and you can. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Surprised to see it in your list. And it contextually, as we're talking favorites of the year, man, you gave it like a glowing review there. I mean, go rewind like 20 minutes and hear what he says about this game otherwise with the popping and stuff. But great to see it on your list.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be subjective, haven't you? I haven't got a PS. I've got a current gen console, haven't I? So it's a different perspective, and bugs and crashes. Like I didn't enjoy Red Dead 2 that much because of the length of it, and I did my ironing and things like that. But the game crashing didn't put me off. It didn't stop me doing a new save and doing another however many hours. And crashes, you get used to them. It's one of the things that you just kind of, especially when you're a PC gamer, you get this stuff fairly often anyway. So I don't have too much of a beam up on it about it. But had I not been able to use my guns again, then obviously it would have gone way down in my estimations. But I thought it was great.
That's something I have no patience for right now with the $600 console, PS5 and Xbox Series X crashes. No tolerance for that right now. I know that's a PC thing, and God bless your soul there for having that history and that lineage to be like, it's normal. My Xbox Series X crashes, and I think the next crash is me fucking throwing it across the room in anger.
Right.
Oh my God, $600 consoles. Good Lord.
Hey, I mean, Bugsnax crashed the first time I played it, so and that almost bricked the PS5, so I can't moan too much.
Oh my God.
And that's like a PS2 game, right?
Yeah, I think PS1, maybe PSP.
Quick follow up too. Domino. Remember my story about how I'm going to stand my Xbox Series X vertically?
Yes.
So my cat Domino wouldn't sit on it. Yeah, that fucker's he's sitting on it all the
Oh, it's
time.
perched.
Yeah, heat
Just
box,
looking majestic.
heat box, sitting up there like just
Brilliant.
Ooh, you could see like the flames coming off his ass, enjoying that one.
Like the folks that have they got the lines at the end of their driveway.
Man, that skinny little bastard. He fits his little tiny little ass up on top of that little vertical Xbox and sits there. Man, that cat. That cat. He's lucky he doesn't get thrown across the room like that Xbox.
He's not getting thrown anywhere.
No, I love him. I love him. But get off my
across the room.
Get off my Xbox. All right, my number 3. It's the first in a backlog game. I didn't play this until I look back at my notes. I think I beat it like January of 20. So I must have played some of it in 19. Lord knows I don't beat a game in a week. That's not me. But God of War. Talking about, Karl mentioned a few minutes ago, just feeling like a badass. I kept the difficulty at normal. So a little bit difficult. I didn't bust it all the way down, but man, I felt like a badass by the time that game was over. Great story. Excellent graphics. Really, one of the PS4's better looking games. And an excellent first party game. This is why PS4, going into PS5, this is why PS5 right now is like the hottest selling thing. And Xbox Series X is like a tile below as far as people wanting the thing. Games like this, God of War, only on PlayStation. Great game. Loved it.
Beautiful game. I love hopping into our friend Dave Malosh. Does a lot of streaming out there. Definitely check him out. He's been streaming God of War quite a bit. Love hopping in there to watch him play this. Fantastic looking game. Stunning.
Some really great boss fights too. Just these giant boss fights.
Oh yeah.
Huge.
Like only God of War can though. You know what I mean? Like they do that boss fight like nobody else.
And the whole thing with his son, he's not a sensitive dude by any stretch, but you have these moments where he's kind of like looking after his boy, and you sort of see through the thick exterior at points, and really well written, that balance between total badass, from hell practically, and the old God of War guy from hell, but total badass now with a kid, vulnerabilities. It's pretty fascinating. Really well written. That's my number 3. How about you, Shane? Your number 3.
Need for Speed Heat came out late 2019. Hit the shelves. Was a bit leery about it. I haven't been a fan of the past few Need for Speed games, but I heard some good things. So I was like, you know what? We picked it up. We picked it up January 1st. That's how we're starting 2020 off. We started it off great. It was great, and I couldn't put the game down, man. Played through it. Got the platinum in that game. Took about a month. A lot of grinding, a lot of hard work. Hard work is easy work. It was great, and it's just it harkens back to that. Some of my favorite old school Need for Speed games back on the PS2. The heart of the series, with a lot of input from some of the great modern racing games out there like Burnout Paradise, Forza Horizon, The Crew 2. It's got takes those little bit elements from there and really wraps it up. Great package, fantastic racing game. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of racing games.
Nice. Big fan of Most Wanted, man, and I never played this one, and I think it's got a little lineage in there too, right? Kind of a similar chasing.
The original Most Wanted back in like 2007.
Ooh,
but
yeah,
the Most Wanted 2012, which everybody loves because they had, the Criterion guys doing that a little bit more burnouty. It's got that in there as well, man. You got your billboards, you got some graffiti to find, you got some neon flamingos to find as well. So a little bit's everything in there. So,
all right, Karl, you're number 3.
Well, this might be a little bit of a surprise, to be fair, but Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, and I'd never played one before. I was looking for something a bit different, something to play with the missus, and we absolutely had a blast playing through this. Took probably 20-something hours, I think, and just such a fun, charming game. Great fun in co-op. Probably going to be quite tough in single player, but we had such a ball with it. Like, it was really fun, and with two of you, it never got too kind of testing. It was just a fun time, a really, really good time. So finished that up and sent it off to my mum. I was like, right, you need to play this. Get you and Dad can go through the hotel and catch some ghosts. But such a cool game. I really enjoyed it. Great co-op experience and a great couch co-op experience as well.
Should turn you into like an IT guy. Should get your mom on a future episode and give us her thoughts on Luigi Mansion 3.
She'd tell you she was stuck behind a couch. Yeah.
On my backlog. Can't wait to play that one. Number 2. Shane, you want to start us off here? Your number 2?
Boy, do I. Yes. The Last of Us Part 2.
Nice.
What? Yeah, and I kind of went back and forth with my number 1 and whatnot. You know, it could have been reversed, but we're not reversing them. It's number 2. Brilliant story. You know, it's a polarizing game. People, you know, they love it. They love to shit on it. You know, and it's just at the end of the day, when you play through that story, it is fantastic. It really is. It's brilliant. We had a great, you know, spoiler back on the episode where Joel and I had just finished it and played through. We had a long talk through there, and all that rings true to today. It's fantastic. Won a bunch of Game of the Year awards that, you know, people were upset about it didn't deserve and whatnot. I think it was brilliant, and started playing it, and I couldn't put it down until it ended. Once it ended, it was, you know, very satisfying. You know, not the most uplifting of stories. You know, it's dark, it's gritty, it's depressing. There's no happy ending, but it is brilliant. It really is like only Naughty Dog can, and they nailed it. And I think the fact that it has been so polarizing and they decide to do what they do makes it even better. Because if you start listening to, you know, to your fans and customers and start taking their input and story and whatnot, your game's gonna start going downhill. You know, and I always think that with a lot of bands. If you start making the albums that your fans want to hear, pack it up. You know, just do it. We don't need that. You know, be innovative. Take some wrong turns. You know, take those wrong turns. Take those risks. And they did, and it to me, it made it even better. And it's definitely right up there. Number 2. It can be very easily be people's number 1s. It's that good.
Hallelujah, brother. Well said, man. I mean, yeah, take some chances, take some risks. And I think part of why, this may be a stretch, but I think part of why people are so upset, these like fans of Last of Us 1, the first Last of Us, because of some of the events in Last of Us Part 2, they felt a little betrayed. And they're so upset. This game doesn't deserve Game of the Year. How dare you? Well, if you stop and think about it there, troll, for just a second, maybe you're so upset because you're so attached to the characters from the first game. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe stop and realize that the storytelling is so fucking good between 1 and 2 that you are just upset because it didn't turn out the way you wanted. And that's why it's a bad game? Nah, man, go stick your head in the toilet and flush it. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm talking to you. You're not listening. You guys are all great. But all the people on the internet, they're screaming about this game. It's like, seriously, look in the fucking mirror for just a second. You're upset because you love these characters. And you are so upset because of things that may or may not have happened. No spoilers to those characters in the second game. I just hit a symbol. I'm so excited here talking about this.
That's just Joel, you nailed it, man. That's a testament on great storytelling. Like it or not.
Yeah. My number 2, also great storytelling. Red Dead Redemption 2, Karl's favorite. Big fan of that game.
Ironing Simulator.
Between Last of Us Part 2 and Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War, what a great year for me playing some strong storytelling in video games. All of those are like Hollywood style, movie quality, book quality, good novel quality stories. And Red Dead Redemption Part 2 has different endings based on kind of some of the decisions you made. And I almost want to play it again.
I was going to pencil that one in at my number 5. I mean, the story's fantastic. And I know I, kind of shit on it for the longest time and kind of quit playing it and then forced myself to go through with it. And in the end, I really did enjoy it. But it just, after I was done, that was satisfying. That's great. I'm good with it. they put so much into that gameplay, and there are spots that were a lot slower than they kind of should have been, and I couldn't honestly call it a favorite, but it is very, very good. And if you're a fan of the Rockstar games, you've probably already played through them and whatnot, but it is a very good, Western tale, that Western.
The Old West.
Yeah, it is a really good story, and definitely, to put that in a number 2 of this year of going through a backlog. I mean, it's got a great home there.
It's the world, man. The world is a character itself. And that's just a beautiful world. I'm a fan of the Old West, the Old Westerns. And they did a nice job putting that into a game. But the side characters like the Gravedigger and all of just these weird little side characters they have in there that almost make me want to do every damn side quest as I'm trying to get through a very long main quest of a game, and how beautiful it is. And I love that part of the world. I love the hilly Wyoming sort of looking part of the world. And it just was great to visit that in a video game, plus the story. Talked plenty about Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's get on to Karl's number 2.
Yeah, I almost broke the ironing board out there. Genshin Impact is my number 2. Free to play, looks amazing, plays brilliant, great level of character development, voice acting. It's a AAA game that's free. So what's not to like? It takes Breath of the Wild and takes some things from it, takes a lot of things from it, gets rid of a few other things, and turns it into very much like an action RPG. And I've just found it a lot of fun. It's supported incredibly well. It has constant updates and patches with new characters that you can try and get. Weapons quests, parts of the world that get unlocked, and I've spent $4.99 on it. I dropped. I thought, what, I'm going to support the game, so I dropped $5 on it. And it gets you a month's worth of, like, you log in every day, which you do anyway to do your daily quests and stuff, and it gives you like a certain amount of primo gems every day and things like that, which you use to buy the wishes and stuff. So it kind of works out in pretty good value. It's just like paying for a subscription for an MMO, really, and yeah, you can pick and choose what months you want to do it if you want to. And I think it's great. I think it's well worth anybody downloading it and giving it a try. It's totally free to play, and it runs so well on the PS5. It runs it's gorgeous. Such a beautiful game, and yeah, definitely worth it. If you like anime or you like you like these open world games, definitely check it out.
It's got that Breath of the Wild look. It makes me want to play it.
Yeah.
Well, we're into the number ones. Shane, your number 1. I know you vacillated back and forth between your number 1 and your number 2. I'm curious what your number 1 is.
My favorite game of 2020 is NHL 21.
Didn't see that coming.
Right? Well, I'm Canadian. However, this is probably, I've played more of NHL 21 than I've played in probably the past, I don't know, 7 or 8 gels combined. This one really grabbed a hold of me. The way they've done the new Hockey Ultimate Team, the HUT mode, it's just got its claws in me, and I'm logging in every day to get rewards. I'm playing the HUT Rush, those quicker kind of mini games almost daily, getting those daily rewards, playing that, getting tons of packs, lots of coins. I'm fully invested into that mode, and I've never really played much of those modes in the past because it's EA and it's microtransactions. Oh, it's just designed to get you to buy packs. Yeah, it was, and you know what? It still is. It is, but they've made so many great improvements on there where you don't need to, and you can still succeed, and you can still get great players in your team. And I'm loving that. They've added so many, the great players from the era that I grew up in the 80s and 90s and whatnot. So, I got Joe Sakic on my team, man. I got Steve Yzerman, my favorite player growing up, on my team, man. I'm loving it. It's fantastic, even though, the gameplay is not perfect, right? There's some bugs. it's it's not perfect, like I said, but it's a lot of fun, and I can't put it down. Like I literally am logging in, playing it every day. I'm learning more of the deeks that I never even, you know, all this stuff. I'm pulling off the the Forsberg. I've been trying to learn to do the Datsuk. Get those moves down and whatnot. I'd never even thought of trying to get involved in that aspect of the game. I always played the game the way I was, really conservative. What I do, I go through my season, maybe do my Be a Pro, and that's it. And after a few, month or two, kind of get bored, and every, maybe once a week I'll get in and play it. I'm fully into this, and it's a nice way to end the PlayStation 4, Xbox One generation with this game, being that invested into it. And I'm looking forward to the next one, and I hope they make some great improvements and it's even better, but we'll see what happens. But right now it's just with the amount of time invested and the fact that I just keep going back and playing. To me, that's a true favorite to me. And this has been my true favorite game of 2020.
It's like a Hallmark story in video gaming. You've played through how many versions of NHL over the years, begrudgingly, like I bought the next one. Shit. We make fun of each other for continuing to buy. For me, Madden. For you, NHL. I skipped Madden this year. I'm like, I can't do it. This doesn't change my mind, but I'm really happy to hear that this game, the payoff, man, from all the grind and all that you spent hundreds of dollars to get to this point for NHL 21. It's pretty rewarding. That's awesome.
Definitely. It's spot on, man. It does feel rewarding, and that's why I'm going to keep playing it, man. I'm just going to keep having fun. They got a deal. We're going to have a hockey season this year. It's going to start in, mid-January. And I'm probably going to even get more invested then, because they're going to probably add a bunch of new stuff and whatnot. So, yeah, there it is, bud.
I love it. Karl, you're number one.
Awesome. My number one is my number one of 2020. Assassin's Creed Origins. Got Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's been a while since I played a new style Assassin's Creed game. So pick this up. It's been in the backlog for a while, and it took me well over 100 hours, but thoroughly enjoyable game, and definitely more like The Witcher 3. Definitely more like that. Open world third person RPG, less stealth. You don't need to stealth at all in the game, which is great, obviously for me. And I just love the Greek world. I'm a bit of a sucker for mythology and stuff. So with God of War, being in the Norse part of it for this game was great, and likewise playing Odyssey and all the mythical creatures and the crazy side quests and the different characters, and it was just a joy for me to play, and kept going back to it. Didn't want to put it down. Platinumed it, and I now think about getting Valhalla, and part of me is just like, well, actually, I could just play through the DLC for Odyssey instead. And I may well end up doing that. Because I've got my dude and he's got his gear already. And, the story intrigues me, like the fate of Atlantis. So, not so much the Hidden Blade, but the Atlantis DLC does interest me. So, yeah, I found it just awesome. Great game, brilliantly balanced. Combat was awesome. It was just a real joy to play. It looked great as well on the PS4 Pro. Really did look fantastic. So, yeah, that's my favourite of the year. And who knows, maybe if I play Valhalla, that might be in there for 2021. But we'll see.
Yeah, thanks for having my back. The first game on one of your two lists that's from last year.
Well, to be fair, Luigi's Mansion 3 is from 2018, I think.
Oh, is it really?
It's not from this year.
Oh, I thought it was this year. Okay, not bad. My number one, we already talked about quite a bit. The Last of Us Part 2. I think the game is special. The story was great. The twists and turns, the plot twists in that game, man, just unbelievable. The way they pull you into that experience and just twist it on you about halfway through the game. And when you get to that moment, you're really mad. You're like, don't make me do this. Don't make me. Oh shit, you're making me do this. Oh, you'll probably only make me do it for like a mission. No, you do that the rest of the game. It just flips it completely on its ass. Very well written, and maybe not talked about as much, and equally deserving, the gameplay. and Last of Us Part 2 I thought was phenomenal. I really love the gameplay arc. I love the combat. Good combination of stealth and action, attack. You don't have to stealth too much, Karl. You just a little bit. But I thought it was brilliant. Gave the disc to my buddy Vince. Vince, if you're listening, play this fucking game. Come on, man. What are you waiting for? I want to play it again. I seriously want to play this game a second time. I loved it. Loved it. A game that, and my wife never takes an active interest in the games I'm playing. She's got her own stuff going on, but this game, she would come down like, what happened? Like, you got to fill me in. And that's how good the story is. Even the wife who doesn't care about gaming is coming down like, whoa, what's going on? And why does the character look different than I saw that character last time? And what happened between now and then? And I think it's a brilliant game. It's a special game. What a great way to end the last generation. I think that kind of the last first party game really for PS4 before they shift focus to PS5. Completely well done. And I also played Uncharted 4 in this year. And I
oh, wow.
I thought this was better. I think The Last of Us is a better franchise than Uncharted. Maybe it's because there's 4 compared to 2. But yeah, I love this game. Easy number 1 for me. And it's in 2020. So that helped. Like, it's a proper 2020 game. Like, it'll inch it over the top there a little bit. Over Red Dead 2. There you go.
That's how they drag you through the mud, kicking and screaming in this game. Like, there's places you don't want to go, and they drag you through it. But yeah, excellent number 1, pal.
Well, Karl put a thread on Twitter, or was that Shane or Karl? I don't know. One of these two guys. One of these two lovely guys here, studly looking dudes that I do a podcast with, put on social media a couple threads. Share your favorite games of the year. So if you'd like to contribute, we'd love to hear from you at A Band of Gamers on Twitter. Shane will put up a really great Instagram post for this if you want to let us know your favorites of the year. Favorites you played this year. We would love to hear them. Help us start a new backlog for 2021. And as we do, it's a tradition here at ABOG. Karl, I'm going to pick on you here for a second. I love you, buddy. Karl can't make up his mind on the top 5, so he's got to have a list of honorable mentions. There you go, bro. Here's your chance. What other games are on your list?
Witcher 3.
The Witcher 3.
Rocket League.
Actually, I did play the Witcher 3 DLC this year, but I didn't think I'd put that on. Same as Persona 5 Royal. I didn't play enough of that. I'll put Streets of Rage. Shane.
Yes.
I put Demon Souls on there because it is awesome, but I just haven't played enough of it. So I've literally only got the first boss down, and between Genshin and then Cyberpunk turning up, I just haven't managed to play enough of it. But that game is brilliant, and I'm sure it'll be in there next year. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I played for that as well. That was really, really good. Definitely recommend playing for that if you played for the other two. And What Remains of Edith Finch, I loved that. That was a great experience. Really, really good. And that's an older game, but good to get that at the backlog and give it an airing.
Right after
that was a fun stream you did too.
Ooh.
Oh, thanks, man.
Is that still up on your Twitch? Could folks, head over there and get a little sneak peek of you playing that?
I'm sure they could. It's if you want to check that out, it's twitch.tv/Stratham. You can check that out. I'm not streaming at the minute because we're in the process of moving out, so I'm a bit of a mess. But there may be 1 or 2 little streams popping up. You never know.
I had that ergonomic issue this year. I mentioned earlier how Tony Hawk 1 and 2 turned me into crinkle fries fingers. It was bad. But right after that, I was playing Hades on my Switch, and I played a few hours of Hades. But my fingers, I couldn't handle the action. I actually had to put my guitar and my video games down for a good solid couple weeks. And then the new consoles hit and everything. I didn't get enough time with this game, but I'll give it an honorable mention. It's not on any of our lists. Hades, really cool game. And shout out to my buddy Adrian, who has texted me on numerous occasions his love and praise for Hades, his game of the year, unless it's changed. Which it may have, I don't know. Good list, guys. Great year. Pandemic. It's a fucking crazy year, but we got our gaming in and we got some good ones.
Sure did, dude.
Jinx.
Yeah, man. Carry on in 2021. There's not going to be too many new games that are coming out, so we might as well just carry on hitting up that backlog. And especially as they run better on the new consoles. Why not?
Well, come on, man. I got the Xbox and I got to look forward to Flight Simulator. I mean, it looks great. I'm being facetious. Man,
well, Halo's coming out.
It's going to be a quiet year.
It'll be out in the spring.
I don't know about that.
Halo, holiday 2021.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. Oh. Wait and get it right. CD Projekt Red.
Yes.
So
pleased to that.
we've got
that's something we can all agree on.
That's right. We've got a Discord server, and you can find that easily on the bottom of our website, abandofgamers.com. Scroll down to the bottom, click on that little Discord. I think I put it in the website menu too. Make it nice and easy for you. We've had a few members join. Just wanted to give some shout outs here to Hedrick18, Rich G, Jet, Krusty Cornholio. Love that name. And Iron Boss 71, a name from the past who needed to recreate his user to get back into our server. But great to see him back there. Thank you to everybody who's joined, who contributes. I need to do a better job. Goal for 2021, need to talk more in our Discord. But man, it's a great community of awesome people. Thank you everybody who's there, contributing to the conversation. Help put a little fuel in our tank. Keep us going for our 9th year in 2021. Do you want, let's try and hit that 10-year anniversary. And we're gonna need all the fuel you can pour in that tank to get to that 10-year anniversary, everybody. So please, as Shane said earlier, leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. We would love to hear from you. And even better, maybe, do both. But come and join us on Discord. We'd love to have you in there. We've got beer chat, gaming chat. Music still lives in there a little bit. The humor thread. Just great outdoors. It's the ABOG lifestyle.
It's
all in one.
A great, mature community where anybody can join and just find some good energy, because it can get miserable out there on the internet. Believe you me, it can. But it's nice to have the Discord community to hop in there, drop some funny memes in there. Everybody's super respectful and whatnot. It's brilliant. Couldn't ask for a better community. But come in and join us. Join us in our Discord.
That's what it's all about. Please join us over there. Now we're going to share what we're drinking. And then if you stick around after that, our favorite albums. We've got a couple that we're going to share of the year. And we'll shut her down until 2021. The 9th year of ABOG. I am drinking from Vennture Brewing. On North Avenue here in Milwaukee. To anybody listening in Milwaukee, which according to our statistics, very few of you. Everyone else is all over the place. It's very spread out. But to the 3 of you who get this, it's on North Avenue. Vennture Brewing, they also do coffee. It's like coffee/beer place. In the morning, you get coffee and maybe beer after 9. And then in the evening,
stay all day.
Yeah, stay all day. Have some, you get all wired up in the morning and get all depressed in the evening. It's a great 1-2 punch. No, seriously, they make some great beers. I was in there the other day. It's been a while since I've been there. I was driving by on my way to the office. I didn't drink before work. Don't get the wrong impression here. But they have takeout bottles, cans, and they had a stout. Lo and behold, boys, they had a stout. We were talking about doing a stout. I'm like, I'm going to have to try. You got a stout? Nice bottle. Nice big bottle here.
Ooh.
Nice large size. So I figured I'd pick this up, give it a go. I didn't try it. I only bought 1 bottle. I tried it here on the show. And my 2 co-hosts got to see my eyebrows go about 20 feet above my hairline there as I took my first sip. It was so good. This is called the Night Crew version 2. It's a barrel-aged Imperial Stout, 12.5%. Very heavyweight. Chocolatey in bourbon barrels. Aged for, they say, 2 years? I'm not sure how long they aged it for, but it feels like it's been aged for a while. Nice big Imperial Stout, and it's a proper stout. Doesn't surprise me. Vennture makes some good brews. That's what I've got.
Dude.
Yeah, that's deadly.
There's a shocking amount of similarity here. My brewery also begins with a V, and this is Vocation Brewery, which is up in the UK up north, somewhere around Burnley and Rochdale, I think, from memory. And every now and then I get a load of these guys' stouts in because they do killer stouts, really, really good stuff. And this is their. It's just a basic can, really. All their stuff is quite simply branded, but it's a Imperial Cherry Kirsch stout. It's barrel aged as well, Joel. 11%. And this one's aged in cognac barrels.
Ooh.
So a little bit different. It's definitely got that that kind of almost a whiskey kind of just that hint to it right at the end. You get this, it's chocolate and cherry, and it's just it's ridiculous. A sumptuous double mash stout with intense notes of dark chocolate and morello cherry. And yeah, you can almost smell that, can't you? It says on the spiel, it's like a complexity of depth and flavour, and boy does it have it. It's really dark, and there is almost that red tinge.
There is
to the stout, and it's really sweet, but it's got that cherry hit is massive, and then just at the tail end of it, it's got that bitterness to it, just that little hint of the cognac. It's gorgeous. Unfortunately, it's a small batch thing, and it's sold out now. But I tried one the other day as a little tester, as I do, and yeah, blew me away. So good, and one of those 11%ers that you just don't notice until you've had two of them. And then yeah, you slow your words a little bit, but yeah, it's good. It's a great time.
Deadly, boys.
I think I might open a second one actually, because that was my first one. But you know what? It's Christmas, you know what I mean?
Yeah, special episodes. It's the annual favies.
Favies.
Let's get that. Let's have more of this stout. Go for it, Shane. What you got?
My stout's got a bit of a red tinge, but it doesn't come with a red tinge. There's a lot of great stouts out this time of year, but I wanted to try something different, and I really didn't feel like driving around going to different stores because I'm trying to do my part in staying home. So I didn't really want to venture out. So what I did is actually a while ago, I found this great little kind of recipe. Well, not really a recipe, but on TikTok, this guy was raving about a certain beer and whatnot, and I decided to try it for myself. So what I have is a cranberry and Guinness.
What?
Now, what you do is you get your Guinness pint glass. You can get about fill it halfway up with cranberry juice. Grab your spoon, and you pour some Guinness on there up to the brim. And what you get when this settles is an absolute stunning looking pint. You get that cranberry in the bottom, so you got that beautiful red tinge, and then it just fades into black. By the time you get to the top of the brim, it's absolutely gorgeous. But how does it taste, though? You know, a lot of people mix Guinness with a lot of different things. You know, Guinness and hop. You know, Guinness and Kool-Aid. You know, they're doing all sorts of things out there. It's a bit crazy, but I love cranberry juice. I always have. I've loved it since I was a kid. It's brilliant. So I had to try this one out. So I thought, what better time than the favies to try out a new beer?
The favies.
And what you get right off the bat, you get that Guinness flavor that we all love. But underneath that comes that tart and a little bit of sweetness from the cranberry. Underneath, it is so subtle, and it is absolutely delicious. I am blown away. This is a fantastic drink. And I'm going to continue doing this. Maybe not with every Guinness I have, because I love my Guinness. I know I love my Guinness. But this is so refreshing. It's different. Puts a nice spin on it, and it friggin' works. And it's great. If you're a Guinness fan, try this. Half the glass, original cranberry juice. Slowly pour in that Guinness on top. Let it settle. Try it. You're welcome.
Let us know, man. At a band of gamers.
He seems to be enjoying it, though, doesn't he?
Yeah. He's smiling ear to ear.
I bet that'd be a great hair of the dog. You know, if you've, especially if you're in Dublin, you're just drinking Guinness all day, and the next day you've got that juice in there, and with a bit of Guinness just to get you back on the ball. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because Guinness is a little bit bitter, right? You get a little bitterness from it, and it takes away a lot of that tardiness and bitterness from cranberries. It's already there. It's come on, guys, let's go.
Well done. Favorite albums of 2020? Just a couple here. Just a couple to tickle your interest, so you go and pop into your Spotify like you do, Apple Music, or YouTube even. Just go maybe look these up. Give them a listen, because we've the cream in our stouts have risen to the top. These are just a couple albums here that we wanted to give a special mention to. Mine was an easy choice because it was like a bookend to my wonderful 2020 pandemic year. So in February, I went out to San Francisco, dragged my wife with me with the promise of going to wine country after, which is any reason why she was interested. But I took her to her first death metal concert. And maybe her last, I don't know. She did some proper earplugs in. I mean, I did too, to be fair. It was very loud in there. But we went and saw Mr. Bungle perform at the Warfield in San Francisco. They did 2 nights there. We were there at the second show. This is Mr. Bungle's. So they played their demo from 1986 when these guys were in high school. Their demo, their cassette, their famous demo cassette. They played that. So here I travel across the nation to see one of my all-time favorite bands, and they played an album I had never heard before.
Awesome.
And they played no songs off any of their 3 records. They played their high school demo, and it was awesome. It was unbelievable. These guys in their teens are better than most of us now. Like they're so proficient. And to see these very accomplished musicians, Mike Patton, Trace Bruance, Trevor Dunn, who have gone off to just amazing success. Maybe not financially, they're not Taylor Swift, right? But as far as like on top of their musicianship, amazing success. To see those 3 guys play death metal was astounding. I was sort of freaked out by it. Trace Bruance can play his guitar that fast. Holy crap. I mean, that's something that when I was a kid, I played a lot of metal. I was a metalhead growing up, and I had the right hand picking down. The speed it takes to play those metal tunes, I can't do that anymore. Take me a few weeks to get up to speed, and those guys just nailed it. And they had on stage with them Dave Lombardo on drums and Scott Ian on rhythm guitar, and they just killed it. And they only played 6 shows. They played 3 in 3 cities, New York, San Francisco, and LA. And to my pleasant surprise, after I got home and shit hit the fan and everything started to lock down, they went straight to the studio and recorded that. They re-recorded that demo with Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian. And that's my album of the year. It hit all the expectations I thought it would. It came out on Halloween in a billion different variants. Shane, you should see all the variants. You'd be proud. And they keep putting it out. They just put out a Christmas sweater and a Christmas variant. They're really digging in on the variants. Well, good for them. It's a great album. So if you're into thrash or into death metal by musicians who can play jazz, Egyptian style, Eastern, just the stuff that these guys pull off in the old metal genre with Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian, 2 very active like metalheads with them. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. Love the record. Easy number 1 for me. And it's a special, it's kind of a nostalgia thing. And it's because I just went and saw the concert. So that may push it up to my number 1, but it was an easy choice for me choosing my album of the year. There you go. It's called The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. Demo. Sorry, Shane.
I have listened to that album, and it's absolutely blistering. It is incredible. Like I've never been a metalhead or into that, but you know, I had to do my boy here justice. I gotta listen, man. It means a lot to him. It's it's a favorite, one of his favorite all-time bands. Got to give it a listen, and it's blistering. That's the only way to describe it. Like, wow.
Nothing like their 3 other albums. Nothing like their other albums.
Okay.
Their other albums are very eccentric. John Zorn produces their first one. It's like crazy circus metal. Then they had like their 3rd album is almost like evil surf music. Never before have I heard them do death metal. It's their high school demo tape.
Wow.
And so to hear this band in their 40s, maybe 50s now, put out a death metal record and do so in a way that kills everything else out there today, I'm like, geez, guys are the best.
That's awesome. I have been known to listen to the odd death metal album.
Death metal.
And I'd never heard of these guys until you've been a big advocate of them over the years. You've mentioned them over the years. I've been like, Mr. Bungle. It just doesn't sound like, we had a show called Rainbow over here when we were kids. So there was a character called Bungle in it. And every Englishman or English lady knows that Bungle is from Rainbow. So when I heard Mr. Bungle, I was like, okay, this doesn't make much sense. But man, that record's good. I've spun it a lot, to be honest, Joel. It definitely gives me them Slayer vibes. The tempo and the pace. Definitely, I could imagine us spinning round in a pit to this at download for real. It's a great record. I'm chuffed you've picked it in there, and I've got the vinyl on my wish list on Amazon at the minute. I might have to pick this up and give myself a little Christmas present. Get that nice red looking record.
Yeah, fingers crossed. This is the beginning of more Mr. Bungle records. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I doubt it. It was such a special treat to have it after, I don't know, 26 years or whenever it was since they last recorded an album. But really great to have it this year, and I could use more, But this time, not your death metal high school tape, but the next evolution of whatever that is for a fourth record in their catalog. The fifth record now, if you count the demo. I'd love to hear more. These guys are the best, man. Love these guys. I've got a couple honorable mentions, but let's move forward to your Shane, your album of the year.
My favorite album of 2020, from a high school favorite band, Green Day. You've probably heard of them at some point. You probably hate them. You may like them. You probably love them as well. But they put out a record back in January, Father of All Motherfuckers. A complete different, it's like, take a risk, do something different. And they definitely did that with this album. They ditched the riots and revolution bullshit that I was tired of. I haven't liked the record before this or whatnot. I'm glad they did something different. That's fun. It's catchy. It's quick. The album's only, 25 minutes long, maybe. Great to put on. There's some great grooves on there. Yeah, some of the songs are a little bit, previous leftovers and whatnot that they've, fine-tuned up and are sounding good, But I'm glad finally to just get a basic, just a fun Green Day record again. And I've listened to it countless times throughout the year. It's just been a go-to when, when I don't know kind of what I'm feeling on, I just put it on, and man, I grinning ear to ear throughout the whole thing. It's different, and I love that, and I love the fact that they're taking risks. To me, that's punk. Taking those risks, not listening to, what anybody else wants. Anybody can be AC/DC. Anybody can put out 20 Dookie albums in a row and be gazillionaires, and everybody love it. No, man. Take that left turn, man. I love those underrated, the albums that a lot of fans turn around and hate on. This album gets a lot of hate from fans. They disregard it. It's a troll album. It's not, it's brilliant. I love it. It's probably my favorite of theirs. I personally think it's their best since American Idiot, but it's fantastic despite probably the worst album cover ever made, but still, Father of All, man, my favorite of 2020.
What's wrong with the unicorn? I don't get it.
Oh, the unicorn's fine. It's just having the arm with the grenade and all. Yeah. Just left the unicorn on there. It'd be great.
Okay, yeah. I was actually following Joel into San Francisco when I first started listening to this album. Like Shane had recommended it, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to listen to this?" And I'd listened to the Long Shot record from last year, and I loved that vibe. I loved that kind of 50s, like just fun, and it was just an awesome record. And then so when I started to listen to this, and we were in SF and just chilling, having an holiday, whatever, and I was this was on repeat. I was just like, oh, it's so good. And when I first heard the single from it, I wasn't too keen on his voice, but it just grew and grew and grew, and it's definitely been one of my favourites from this year, mate. It's super strong. It probably is I love American Idiot. I know we've talked about Green Day records to death, mate, but this is probably my favourite since that as well. It's a nice one.
Wow.
Yeah, you see, you never know what you're going to get. But I'll tell you what you will get if you listen to Creeper. Is the best album that's been released this year.
Woo.
Absolutely. Sex, Death, and the Infinite Void is the best album of 2020, in my humble opinion. I've played this to a few of my mates, and they'd never really listened to Creeper. And within a week of listening to this record, they loved it. The kids loved it. Like, it's infectious. It's a brilliant piece of work. It's a bit of a mix of loads of different styles. You know, I don't think you could argue and say it was unique in any way, but it's full of hooks. It's full of great catchy tunes. And you know, you've got a bit of My Chemical Romance in there. You got just a bit of everything, really. And it's not heavy. It's very melodic. There's some great female vocal in there. You know, bits of piano, bits of, I mean, got saxophone and all. It's mad. There's all sorts of crazy stuff in there. And the thing that gets me about this record is this is a British band who have been in LA, kind of in situ, really recording this after the debut. It Turns in Your Arms, which was my album of the year, I think in 2018, maybe 2017. I forget when that came out. And the band's been through some stuff. If you're not of the faint heart and your mental health is okay, alongside the album on Spotify is a podcast series talking about the creation of this piece of work and what the band went through at the time. And it's a harrowing listen, but it's brilliant at the same time. Like, it's each member of the band interviewed to give their perspective on different things, but it's so interesting to listen what goes through. What a band goes through to put together something like this. So, yeah, standout, my favourite of the year, 100%. Brilliant record.
I need to give both of these a listen, like you do at home.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, we used to do album on the show every episode, but at the end of the year, it's the only time you're getting it. Might be worth kind of going through and checking these out.
There's some gooders.
I think so. And in honor of Karl, honorable mentions. All three of us here. I've got two more. Coriky. That's the name of it. It's Coriky. Ian Mackay of Minor Threat. And Fugazi with his wife, Amy Farina, on drums, and Joe Lally on bass. All three of them singing. Put out a really kind of chill Fugazi record. Ian Mackay always just sounds like Fugazi. It has that very distinctive guitar style. But to have the male and the female vocal on this album, kind of a surprise for me. A surprise, hey, he put out a new record. And surprise, it's with some different people, and it's really good. I'm a huge Fugazi fan, big Minor Threat fan. They've been done a long time. But just to get some new Ian on a very competent record, excellent album. If it wasn't for my Mr. Bungle Boner, it may have been my number one. Great record. And then they got a re-release. It's kind of a weird one. This came out on Vinyl Me Please, re-released in 2020. It's originally from 1970. Albert King, very great guitar player. He's a blues player who plays on a flying V, which is kind of different for a blues player.
The best.
Left-handed player, flying V. If you know a flying V, you can flip that thing on the other side, string it the other way. There's no left or right on a flying V. It's both. It's an ambidextrous guitar. Man, this guy just tears, though. Great player, a huge inspiration to me this year. I love his playing. And the album is Blues for Elvis. King does the King's things. This is Albert King playing Elvis Presley tunes in a blues style. And man, look this up. This is really great. A soulful blues guy singing Elvis tunes and with the heart into his blues guitar playing. Excellent record. I was unaware of it. I got it from this re-release in 2020 through Vinyl Me Please. Ashamed I wasn't aware of it prior. I mean, I'm aware of Albert King. The guy, he's a great guitar player. I play guitar and I know the guy. Very good record. Check this one out. Blues for Elvis. King does the King's things. Excellent record. It's been on my player all year long. I can't stop listening to it. Friends, family, parents, siblings. It doesn't matter who comes over. We're having a beer on a patio and this is going on and everybody loves it. They're like, oh my God, is that Hound Dog? Like, is that Elvis? Like, yeah. Like, who is this? It's a great record.
I'm very intrigued. I'm definitely going to be listening to that. Yeah, some Elvis. He's the king, man.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I love me some blues. I've just added this to my Spotify list right now.
All right. I love it. All right, Shane, you're up, man. Your honorable mentions.
Honorable mention. If you're a fan of pop punk like I am, one to definitely check out is Screeching Weasel. They're back. It was came out of nowhere. Announced a new album, Some Freaks of Atavism, and it is brilliant. Fantastic record. It is solid straight through. I do not think there's a bad song on it. The flow is great. There's some great melodies, as you would expect from Ben Weasel. It's just an excellent listen, and I think it's getting overlooked quite a bit, but it is a fantastic record. So if you like that style, give it a go. You'll enjoy it for sure.
And
nice.
Another one that you guys both share.
Yeah, I think Karl and I can finally agree on something. It's the new Fontaine's DC record, Hero's Death.
Yeah, great record. I was really intrigued how this one would sound. Obviously the first record was only last year, and this goes a real big swing away from what they did before, but in a good way. I quite like it. It's a lot slower. It's a bit more chilled out. And it's a bit more, I guess, it's analytical, I think, of the first album and the tours and everything that went with it. And it's kind of a bit, they're reflecting a bit on the experience and all that. So, and I think it's great. I grabbed the vinyl, spun it a load. It's really, really good. And it's hard for a band who was just hyped to release a really quality second album, especially when it's been a year. But I think they nailed it, Shane. I don't know about you, mate, but I've loved this one. It's much more relaxed.
So it's just much more relaxed. It sounds more mature for them. The songwriting has gotten better. Guitar playing. You see, the Guinness is already in me, mate. Getting that fucking accent's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, up the villa. And it's like, you hear a lot of, Smith's influence, very Johnny Marr. And lo and behold, I started looking up some clips and sure shit, the guitar player's playing a Johnny Marr signature Fender Jaguar. And there it is. It's great. And they're a fantastic band, man. It's good to see a band that is so young. They put out that first album, which is just, it's fierce. They're loads of energy and whatnot. And then to just shift it up a little bit, just do their thing. Everybody was expecting, the first album part 2 or whatnot. And to do something like this, it shows a quality of songwriting, quality of musicians. These guys are still very, very young. And they remind me a bit of the Arctic Monkeys. They had that very fierce first album and then started to develop more. And I can't wait to see what they do next. I'm definitely a fan. And this album's brilliant. Up there, definitely one of the best of 2020.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what they do after they stew a little bit, because this came out pretty quick after that initial record. And maybe even a left turn, but I'd be curious if you give these guys like 2 years to kind of get into their heads a little bit. Be curious to hear what these guys come up with.
Yeah, you could be right. You could be right. And who knows, maybe they'll take next year and we'll get another one in 2022 or something. But a band who definitely haven't lost their punch, Code Orange. This is one of my honourable mentions. The debut album was brilliant record. The second one, Underneath, is not as good, but it still absolutely smashes it, man. They still have this knack of achieving that heavy killer metal industrial sound. Like it's so heavy. And it's so melodic at the same time, and they just flip between the ultra abrasive. Like there's a part on the second track, I think it is, where it's mechanical screaming, like a transformer's being like crucified or something, and it's like the outro to the tune, and it just blends into the next, which instantly has got like a bit of drum and a kind of bass on it, and it's still metal. Like I listen to these and I'm like, that's just so clever and it's so well done. It's a killer album, and they've still got like they had with Orange, they had Bleeding the Blur on it, which was more commercial, and just it could be absorbed by anybody. And they've got a couple of tunes like that on this record still as well. So it's still got that accessibility but ultra heaviness to it as well. And I love it. It's been a great one for me this year.
Yeah, I remember listening to this album early on when you recommended it, Karl, and it's some great metal. I love the guitar work in here. I think if I recall, this is the album with them, like it slows down and speeds up and slows down, has all the tempo changes.
Yes. Yeah.
Really cool. A very mosh pit style record. I haven't thought about the mosh pit since I was 18, but this album made me think about a mosh pit.
I certainly missed a bungle for me, mate. So
yeah, and there wasn't because we're all in our 40s, but it was a great show. Anyway, one more. What's your next honorable mention?
Just Pearl Jam. A Gigaton. It's just blew me away how good Eddie Vedder's vocals were on this. The last, like the Pearl Jam was the last one that I really, really got into. And I was like, okay, yeah, I saw him on that tour and it was just brilliant. And I can't remember what the last one was called now, but I wasn't that, it was all right.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt,
that's it. It was all right, but I wasn't, madly into it. And then I heard the single from this one, and there's something about it. He nails the vocal all the way through this record. It's just it doesn't sound like he's forcing it. It doesn't sound like he's he has aged, but it's so clear and it's so punchy and just full of emotion. I just think it's a really, really strong record.
They sound very refreshed on this album. They got some, and it might be, Eddie's voice is maybe gotten a second life. He's crossed, because as dudes get older and whatnot, the voice kind of, it can go a bit, and then when it comes back, it's usually better than ever. And I think that's might have what happened with Eddie and touring so much and whatnot. But they sound ace. The band is on fire for this record. There's the one tune on there, Dance of the Clariots, and I think that was brilliant and one of their best tunes in a long time. It is absolutely incredible. But the album is fantastic, start to finish. Probably their best album in 20 years.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Great year of ABOG, man. Really, really messed up year for just everybody out there. And 2021 is a year that I think a lot of us want to forget. We're looking towards a bright future here for 2021 and things kind of getting back to normal. Hopefully soon. We do have a light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine. So that's good news. I hate bringing up COVID, but when we just kind of reflect on the year, I don't think you can get through this year without at least reflecting on that for just a second. No. But I'm happy to be doing ABOG with these guys. We can put a little fuel in our tank like we asked. But we would appreciate it. We're going for our 10th year in 2022. And man, that's a goal for me, is to get there and keep grinding through. And it's all about you two guys. So thank you for being here with me doing this. If it wasn't for you two guys, I wouldn't be doing this at all. I wouldn't care at all about it. But, it's fantastic to hook up with Shane and Karl. Continue to do this. And thank you to you for listening. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll be back with you in 2021. We got 15 minutes before we hit the 2-hour mark, roughly. I got some beer left in my glass. I'd like to finish it with Shane and Karl. Do you guys want to talk about anything else before we close her down for a year? A little bit of side C, a little casual chat.
Yeah.
Giannis. Hey, Shane. Giannis signed the Supermax contract.
That was huge.
Told you.
That is, yeah.
Sorry, I thought of you right away. I'm like, I saw your eyebrows raising every time I brought it up. You're like, I don't know, man. I'm like, oh, come on. He's going to do it. Big win for Milwaukee, man. Huge win for Milwaukee, for the state of Wisconsin. We've been talking here all like week about, is this the most important signing in Wisconsin sports history? It's that big a deal here to this state. 5 more years with Giannis. Yes, he's choked a little bit in the playoffs. I have faith that he's going to overcome that. The guy works his tail off. I'm very confident that in these 5 years, as long as the team around him is sufficient, he's going to bring us a championship. But not to go onto the sports path, and everyone's tuning out now, like, shut up, talk about sports. Huge for my 2020, man. Giannis signing that contract. That's all I wanted for Christmas. Merry Christmas to me. Beautiful.
Dude, I'm right there with you. With Jack Greedy signing a new 5-year deal in the summer for Villa. Like, it's huge. And, both of our teams are owned by the same people. Well, a portion of the same people. And it's nice to see the same kind of idea, building that team around one generational talent. So, yeah, good times ahead for both, I hope anyway. But I'm just hoping that next year maybe I can jump on a plane and come see you guys. We were lucky this year. Joel, we both managed to be in San Francisco and get a little holiday in before the world turned to crap. And when I look back at this year, and how some other people have been got off lightly, man. This year hasn't been too bad at all. From a personal perspective, really, apart from being stuck indoors and working. But it's still a long way to go. But I'm hopeful that we can try and get the band back together, try and get another beer in person.
Yeah, we didn't get to meet up in San Francisco. You came in as we were sort of leaving. So we never crossed paths there, but that it would have been lovely. 2 years ago, you can see the pictures on our websites, abandofgamers.com, where the three of us are together. Amazing time. It's got to happen again. Let's shoot for 2021 if everything is okay, safe to travel.
When it's safe.
Yeah, but that would be amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. That's all.
But you got to push. You got to push for it. You got to push for it. You got to plan it. Otherwise, a matter of time could get pushed out even further. So it's a good goal.
That's not. Well, I'm just saying. Like we all got to be safe. When we do it,
that's right.
You can't rush it.
That 10-year anniversary, you never know.
That's right. Shane, you gonna get in a car or on a plane, or we got to come out to you again?
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
What's your goal for 2021?
I can't really say on the show, but yeah, we go. The wheels are in motion, so we'll see what happens.
I know my wife is like, I'd like to see Vancouver. Right. I'd like to get up to Whistler.
Yeah,
So I think we could drag the ladies around.
Sure,
Karl could bring his old lady, not his mom, but his lovely Faye.
No, bring
my mum ain't got on a plane for nobody. But yeah. I mean, at this point, like, Faye loves a holiday, so I think she'd fly anywhere pretty much at this moment in time if she could do.
Bless her.
Yeah,
I
know. But yeah, it'd be great to get back together and have a beer, and when the world's calmed down a little bit. But it's on the way. It's it's getting there slowly but surely.
If anyone's still listening, and I hope you are. I mean, we approach the 2-hour mark of this ABOG episode 230. If you're struggling right now, if you're having a hard time, please reach out. We're here for you. It's been a difficult year, and as we get into 2021, it might be even more difficult. But I want to throw you a rope. Seriously, anything we can do whatsoever, please reach out. We'd love to help. Just with some conversation, some video games, some chat on Discord, get in a Zoom meeting, a Teams meeting, a Google Hangout, whatever. Seriously, if you're struggling right now and you're looking for some friends, you just some help, some chats, please reach out. We all gotta look out for each other right now. It's been a rough year. It's really important to me that I bring that up. I thought about it earlier. I wanted to bring it up, and it just seemed like a perfect segue as we were kind of giving ourselves a group hug here and trying to hook up in 2021. Just make sure, reach out. The world's a hard place right now for a lot of you out there, and that sucks. But let's lift each other up. That's what this is all about, honestly.
Amen, dude.
How's that for sappy?
There you go.
That's been brilliant. I say the same thing all the time. Like, my Twitter DMs are always open. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff because, everyone needs, sometimes you need to talk to somebody who doesn't, it doesn't form part of your normal circle. And just be like, right, this is the situation. I need a impartial view. What's the crack? Are these people? Are my family being completely unreasonable, or is work being just the thing that is? And it just bounce it off somebody. And happy to be that sounding board for anybody really.
Exactly. So you had too much to drink, and you banged your buddy's wife or something, man. Like, it's all right. We're here to listen. Anything. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I lost a best friend to suicide in 2013. And I always want to remind people, had I known he was in that dark place, he'd still be here. I had no idea. No idea. And if I could have just been extending this olive branch the whole time, dude, if you need to talk, maybe he'd still be here. So as we approach our 9th year into our 10th year, and it's all about you. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. But that's important to me. I always think about that. How can we help other people? It's not just entertainment, but it's the friendships, right?
Yeah.
So
we joke a lot and whatnot, but it is a tough time of year right now. And 2020 has added a lot of weight to all of us, myself including. Hey, I've been there. I know what you're going through, bud. Reach out to us.
Dramatic pause. Anything else, guys?
I don't think so. We don't need to do any predictions to next year or anything, do we?
No, I don't think so. Shane predicts everything. He's got it on lockdown. We're good.
Yeah. It's scary how he predicts things, though. Like
right?
Cuphead.
Cuphead. Yep. Cyberpunk.
Nailed it.
Villa.
Yeah, you did say it'd be a good season this season. Fair play.
Right? They weren't going down last year.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Like Shane was messaging me going, no, not going to happen. And we were like, I don't know, 5 points clear of survival with 3 games to go, or so, whatever it was. Like we survived.
Season was written off.
I'd written us off. Of course, I've supported us for 39 years.
On my watch.
All those bad times, but yeah, it's nice. It's a good time to be a Villa fan, anyway.
Damn, pour yourself a Guinness and Cranberry.
I'm gonna.
This is gonna be great come summer.
I'm gonna try that for you.
Swing by North Avenue. Grab a Vennture. Because it's the only place you could get it. So good.
You could try and get yourself one of these vocations, but they're all gone. And I think I bought the last of them.
Man.
Oh God.
Spin in my glass here for the guys. Look at that tasty froth that just sits there on the side of the glass.
That's the best.
Oh man. Very chocolatey. Good call on the stouts.
This is a problem. This is a problem you don't have with a regular beer. When it's like, 4, 5, 6, 7% now. And you pour it out and you're like, I've got a bit left. I'm going to pour a new one. And with an 11% stout, it's like, I'm sipping it and I've got all this left. It's a good job I'm going to stay up for a bit, but I've eyes bigger than my belly, I reckon.
Before we shut her down, too, for the 2020, a shout out to our partners in crime here, Tim Paulin, who's been putting up some videos for us on our YouTube channel there. Great Twitch streamer, friend of the show, awesome guy, fits right in with our community. Brad hasn't written anything in a while. He's very busy running a major retail store during Christmas.
Right.
But both those guys contributing to us, part of the team. Shout out to Brad and to Tim. You guys are the best.
True champions.
Hell yeah.
Yep. Shout out to you. Thank you for listening. Hope to see you in 2021. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Like clockwork. We didn't miss. Hey, wait a second. We didn't miss an episode this whole year, right?
That's correct.
We made it. Did we make it? We made it the whole year. That was the goal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Never missed. And this may seem like a stupid accomplishment to a lot of you out there who are like on a podcast for 9 years and never miss a fucking week. But we every other week we made it this whole year. We didn't skip a beat. That's glass razor right there, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll patting ourselves on the back here, a little group hug. But seriously, that was a pretty nice accomplishment. Think we can do that in 2021?
Of course.
Yeah?
I think so.
Easy peasy. We got it down now.
Yeah, it's old hat now.
We can manage. We'll do it for you, the listener.
All right. Back to some regular beers. I got a surprise. I got a good one for next episode. It's already ready. A little bit of a listener, a friend, recommended. Wants me to go record an episode of ABOG at this brewery. to help support this local brewery. So I went there the other day, took them home. I'm like, okay, number one, I need to taste this beer and make sure it's ABOG approved before I commit to any sort of like plans like that. But it's a small local brewer. He's like, look, can you guys hook each other up, like support each other? I'm like, if it's a good beer, man, I'll do it. So I went and grabbed some, tried it here this week. It's good. It's real good. Yeah. So maybe a live episode of ABOG, us three, of course, me being at that location and sharing and like help and support a small local brewery like we do. We like to get the word out on these great brews, these great beers. So next episode, I think I'm going to bring that to the show, share with my boys here, and we'll talk maybe about a future episode at that brewery and how we can look out and how we can maybe in 2021 help even further these great local breweries with our support, whatever that looks like.
Exactly. Restore our community.
There you go.
And he drains his glass.
Oh my God, I'm surprised I'm still sitting on the stool here after this 12.75% here.
Way to go, dude.
Yeah. All right, Shane walked away, so now we've got a delay. Got to like somehow fill time until he returns. We could say goodbye proper. I can't say goodbye. He's like gone. He's not even sitting there anymore.
That's all. We'll just hang up and he won't notice anything.
That's a good.
You just think we're mad at him. Fine.
Right.
I was going to say something. I can't. My mind's gone blank. Shockingly. Oh man. Yes, I was going to say yes. So we're going to record 2 weeks from today, and I'll be moving in that time frame. So that next show could be interesting. Like at the moment, there's a lot of boxes around me.
Does that give you?
See me, Joel? There'll be nothing around me.
But does that give you time proper to get in your space and be all set up, or is that like?
Yeah, it's fine.
Because we just committed to a whole year of it not missing one, and now I hear it might be a bad time for you.
We'll be fine. Don't worry.
All right,
we'll make it work. I've got portable internet. I can literally carry it with me now, so it's all good.
Nice. All right, Shane, you're back. I'm going to put all the heat and the pressure on you.
Okay.
Close it out, man. Close it out for 2020. Shut her down.
Have a great holiday. Connect with your loved ones. Say hi. Your friends that you haven't talked to in a while, give them a buzz. Stay in touch with folks. Be safe. And have a happy new year. Happy New Year!